Fourth NBA team to suit up for B. Cleveland, Miami, and the Lakers so far. Rich Paul on an episode of his Game Over podcast with Max Kellerman, released on Friday, used a whiteboard and pointer to illustrate a bevy of teams that James could join and weighed the plus and minuses of each situation. Maddie.
I'll take Spurs and Knicks also in the mix. Love that whiteboard. We are joined now by senior writer David Dennis Jr. for more. Okay, so David, there's a lot to unpack from that whiteboard. Walk us through your biggest takeaways for a few of the teams referenced, starting with the 76ers.
Okay, Christine, you're going to fill me on this. The 76ers are the new bombshell that has entered the villa in the LeBron James discussion. Nobody was talking about them 3 days ago as a LeBron James potential suitor, but they get Jaylen Brown. That changes things. Maxey, as you see, has an asterisk next to him. That's a Rich Paul guy also. This thing makes a ton of sense when you have Maxey, Edgecombe, Jaylen Brown, and Embiid. The only problem I have is that Embiid, that health. LeBron, do you want to attach your last year or two to Embiid's health? Not sure about that. Golden State, I was a little concerned when I saw them in the corner because they make so much sense, but Rich Paul explained that the corner being outside the inner circle does not mean they're not legitimate contenders, and I think they are. For me, this is the best spot for LeBron. Him and Steph, they love playing with each other. We saw that in the Olympics. They could be real contenders together. Cleveland, of course, is another one here that we're looking at as a storybook ending for LeBron. You go back to Cleveland, you close the chapter. But one thing that was interesting that Rich Paul said was that LeBron was upset about Darius Garland leaving. He likes Darius Garland. Darius Garland, also another Rich Paul guy. But that shows me that there is a little bit of concern about playing with James Harden and also just installing championship culture to that Cavs team. All right, the Dallas Mavericks. He ain't going to Dallas, but this was just so interesting and weird. I don't know why there's oil there. Also, Majiri is there, and I get it, he's Nigerian. The whole continent of Africa is just there as part of it. I don't understand exactly what LeBron and Rich Paul were saying here when they have Dallas there. He maybe just likes to golf there. I don't quite get it, but I don't think he'll be there. It was just a bunch of weird words under the Mavs there on the board.
Yeah, oil, golf, none of those really make sense for what happens on the basketball court. As for Philly, it really feels like they've gotten a lot better this week with the addition of Jaylen Brown. Here is Brown addressing the trade on his Twitch channel last night.
It's a bunch of emotions. I'm still processing everything, so give me some time. But I'm also looking forward to what's to come next. I will say there was definitely a message being sent, and that message was received. I wasn't thrilled with the amount of respect that was showed during this process. You know, I did feel like it was a lack of respect. At one point it was fine, and out of nowhere it just went left. I definitely think there's more to it. I just wish the more to it could have been explained. I just wish that they had the respect to just tell me exactly what it was.
I don't know, I kind of like Jaylen Brown as a streamer. David, what do you make of how this trade transpired for Brown this week?
First of all, nothing makes me feel older than hearing those Twitch bloops and having no clue what they mean. I have no understanding what's happening. But Jaylen Brown, I get it. I understand. This is the ultimate disrespect. Boston sent him up the street in the division for a bag of potato chips and a draft pick. And they said, we do not believe that you are of consequence when we're trying to make it in the playoffs and go against you. That is disrespectful, on top of the fact that, to his point, they've never quite articulated to anybody why they're moving on. If it's a money thing, just say that. But instead, we have a lot of speculation about smarts and things like that and analytics, and it's really making it seem like they didn't value him, and they're making it seem like the rest of the league didn't value him, when we know about a week ago they could have gotten Giannis Antetokounmpo for him, which I don't understand. Like, if you were that close to getting Giannis and you feel like there was no value anywhere else, you have to go and get Giannis, and I think that puts everybody in a better situation.
Yeah, and it felt like it happened kind of quickly because they didn't need to do it when they did do it. Philly's odds, by the way, to win the East are now at plus 750, third shortest in the conference. David Dennis Jr., we appreciate it. Thank you.
Well, this just in the SportsCenter. Shams Charania is reporting that the Lakers are trading center DeAndre Ayton to the Wizards for Jaden Hardy and 2 second-round picks. Ayton played 1 season in L.A., averaging career lows of 12.5 points and 8 rebounds per game. NBA's senior writer Anthony Slater joins us now from the Bay Area. All right, with the Wizards acquiring a new center in Ayton, how does this impact the Warriors in potentially pursuing Anthony Davis?
Yeah, the Wizards are not signaling that 1 + 1 = 2. This does not necessarily to them mean that Davis is now available. Ayton is low risk. He could, he's making $8 million on an expiring deal. He could play next to Davis. He could replace Davis at times if Davis misses time with injuries. So, as far as it goes to the Warriors, this being leverage season, I don't think this helps the Warriors leverage necessarily. The Wizards could easily still keep Davis, which could potentially box the Warriors out of the LeBron James sweepstakes. But the bigger question I have when it comes to Davis and the Wizards is August 6th. That's when he becomes extension eligible. I expect him to have his hand out. Now, Trae Young has been extended. Will the Wizards give Davis a big money extension? And if they don't, what does that mean?
Okay, as for tonight now, the Warriors, they get a look at their first-round pick, Axel Landenborg. He's set to make his Summer League debut. What should we expect from the 23-year-old now that he's joining this Warriors team?
Yeah, I don't like to take too much from Summer League, right? Especially one game of Summer League. But the expectation is he is going to be ready to go, ready to look like a starting level NBA wing, a 25-minute, 30-minute per game type guy, because, he's already the age of a Paulo Banchero. Jonathan Kuminga, he's basically the same age as the Warriors drafted him 5 years ago. So part of the appeal and why the Warriors took him is because they need a rotation player immediately. Jimmy Butler's out for a majority of next season. Moses Moody's out. I talked to Yaxel last week. He said in his early conversations with Steve Kerr, he's mentioned that you're going to play a lot. Steve has mentioned that to Yaxel, and he said maybe even start. So starting tonight, you want to see him show that he's ready to go.
All right, I can tell you the moment's not going to be too big for him. He comes with the experience that is Yaxel, the oldest lottery pick since 2021. Anthony, thank you.
They went through a massive roster makeover because we're still dealing with the fallout. Walker Kessler, Quentin Grimes, Colin Sexton, and Mamu. Sandro
who? Sandro what?
Mamoushkelishvili.
Damn, that's good.
I don't know if it's good. It's what I got. Pretty big turnover of the roster. Now, what I will say is I've had interesting league reaction from this. Have you talked to folks about this, McMahon? We didn't talk about this beforehand.
Yeah, I have. And obviously I've also talked to the Jazz, which is kind of like...
You've done a lot of reporting on this.
The other key party here. And so it is fascinating. And look, we can talk about kind of the ancillary pieces, but Walker Kessler is now a centerpiece of the Lakers, right? He's their number 3 guy for the long term. And whether you want to say they overpaid on salary and they overpaid on the price. By the way,
it's real quick. Do you think they overpaid on salary? I'm kind of okay with it. I'm not good at this, but I was afraid to get Walker out of there. You're going to have to offer more than $32 a year.
Yeah, I would say this. Talking to people around the league, they thought the 5 years, about $140 million on the table from the Jazz was a very strong offer for Walker Kessler.
That's 28, right? Is that 28 a year?
Yeah, 28. Yeah, I think it was actually like 137.5, but whatever. They would have. The $500,000 a year wasn't going to prevent the Jazz would have gotten to 140. They felt like that was really strong value for Walker Kessler. Having said that, the Lakers had a desperate need that they had one real swing to fill. The price, I get it. Because the other thing is, if you don't fill this need, you can't look Luke in the eye after promising to deliver him a legit center this summer and have a conversation that's going to go well. That's just a simple fact of the matter. So the Lakers were backed into a corner because of the circumstances, because their cap space is use it or lose it, and because of the promises they made